I'm building something today. What is it? I have absolutely no idea. That's the fun of it. Sometimes you just need to get into the shop, grab some wood, and let the tools in your hands do the thinking for you. There are no blueprints on my bench, no cut lists, and no client waiting for a finished piece. It's just me, a pile of wood, and a challenge. This pile of wood is my inspiration. It's a collection of odds and ends, the leftovers from bigger projects. I've got some thin strips of beautiful walnut, a chunk of maple with some interesting grain, and a few pieces of oak that have been sitting in the corner for way too long. It's a scrappy bunch for sure. These scraps are the best for a project like this. They don't have a designated purpose, so you're free to experiment without worrying about wasting a big, expensive board. Each piece has its own story, its own character. This piece of cherry has a nice little knot in it that some people might see as a flaw. I see it as a focal point. This bit of plywood has some cool layers on the edge that could look really neat if I sand them down just right. The possibilities are endless when you look at scraps not as trash, but as treasure waiting to be discovered. It's all about changing your perspective and seeing the potential in what you already have. So, what could this mess of wood become? My mind is racing with ideas. Maybe a small decorative box? Or a stand for my phone? I could try to make some kind of abstract sculpture, just gluing pieces together in a way that looks cool. I'm leaning towards something functional, but with an artistic flair. I really like this piece of spalted maple. The dark lines running through it are just incredible. It feels too special to be a hidden part of something. It needs to be the star of the show. I'm inviting you all to join in on this creative journey. What would you build with this assortment? Drop your ideas in the comments below. I'm going to just start by cleaning up the edges of a few of these pieces. Getting a straight, clean edge is always a good first step, no matter what you're building. It gives you a solid reference point to work from. Even when you don't have a plan, you still need to follow the basic rules of woodworking. A square edge is a woodworker's best friend. This process of just prepping the wood helps me think. The sound of the table saw, the feel of the wood in my hands, it all helps to clear my head and let the ideas flow. Let's head over to the saw and make some sawdust. The journey has officially begun. Okay, I've got this nice piece of oak, and I've just run it through the jointer and the planer. Now it has two perfectly flat faces and one straight edge. It feels solid and ready to become something. My initial thought was to use it as a side for a box, but as I hold it, I'm not so sure. It's a bit thicker than I'd like for a small box, and it feels substantial, like it should be a base for something. This is what I love about freestyle building. You can change your mind 100 times. The wood itself starts to tell you what it wants to be. You just have to be willing to listen and adapt. So, I'm making a decision. This oak piece is going to be the foundation. I'm going to cut it into a rectangular base. I'm not even using a tape measure right now. I'm just eyeballing it, looking for a size and shape that feels balanced and pleasing to the eye. Here we go. First cut on the miter saw. Whoops, that cut isn't perfectly square. See? Mistakes happen, even when you've been doing this for years. But it's not a disaster. It's just a new problem to solve. I can easily take it back to the saw and shave off a tiny sliver to get it perfect. No stress, just another step in the process. Now for those thin walnut strips. I was thinking they could be decorative inlays, but I have a new idea. What if I use them to create a sort of slatted wall or screen? I can cut them all to the same length and create a repeating pattern. I'll need a way to hold them together with consistent spacing. I could build a simple jig, which is like a guide for my tools, to make sure every cut and every space is exactly the same. It's a little bit of extra work up front, but it will make the final result look so much more professional and clean. It's these little moments of problem solving that make woodworking so satisfying. With the oak base cut and the walnut strips ready, I'm starting to see a shape emerge from the chaos. The plan is starting to form itself. The heavy, light-colored oak will be a great contrast to the delicate, dark walnut. It's going to be a game of light and shadow, solid and open space. I'm getting excited now. This is that magic moment in a no-plan project where you finally see a path forward. The initial uncertainty fades away, and it's replaced by a focused energy. It's time to start thinking about how to join these pieces together. This is where the real craftsmanship comes into play. The base is ready, and I have a stack of perfectly cut walnut slats. Now, how do I attach them? I could use simple butt joints and glue, but that feels a bit plain. I want to add a detail that shows some skill. I think I'll cut a shallow groove, or a dado, into the oak base for the walnut slats to sit in. This will not only make the connection much stronger, but it will also look incredibly clean and intentional. It's a small detail that most people might not even notice, but I'll know it's there, and that's what matters. It's about taking pride in your work, down to the smallest detail. To cut this dado, I'm using my table saw with a dado stack, which is a special set of blades that can cut wide grooves. I'm not measuring the position with a ruler. Instead, I'm using one of the walnut strips itself as a spacer. This ensures the groove will be the perfect width. I'm also setting the blade height by eye. I want the groove to be deep enough to be strong, but not so deep that it weakens the oak base. This is where experience comes in handy. After thousands of cuts, you develop a feel for these things. You can trust your eyes and your hands to guide you. With the dado cut, I'm test-fitting the first walnut slat. It slides in perfectly. That is such a satisfying feeling. It's a snug fit, not too tight, not too loose. Now I need to figure out the top. The slats need something to connect to at the top to give them stability. I'm looking back at my scrap pile, and my eyes land on a thin piece of maple. It's light, like the oak, and will create a nice visual frame. I'll cut another dado in the maple piece to mirror the one in the base. This will create a strong and elegant frame for the walnut slats to be captured in. Now comes the glue up, which is always a bit nerve-wracking. You have a limited amount of time before the glue starts to set. I'm applying a thin, even layer of wood glue into the grooves and on the ends of each slat. I carefully place each walnut piece into the oak base, one by one. Then, I fit the maple top piece over them. It's like a puzzle, and all the pieces are finally coming together. I apply some clamps to hold everything tightly while the glue dries. Now, we wait. This is the hardest part, being patient and letting the glue do its job. The clamps are off, and it's time to see what we've made. After a whole lot of sanding, starting with a low grit to smooth out any uneven spots, and working my way up to a superfine grit, the piece is incredibly smooth to the touch. Sanding is the part of woodworking that separates the good from the great. It's tedious, but it's so worth it. I then applied a few coats of a simple oil finish. This is my favorite part, because the oil makes the grain of the wood just pop. The deep, rich brown of the walnut and the golden tones of the oak and maple come to life. So, what is it? It's a desktop letter and mail sorter. The oak base is heavy and stable, and the walnut slats create perfect dividers for letters, notebooks, or important documents. The spalted maple piece? I decided to add it to the front of the base as a small, artistic accent, showcasing its unique and beautiful patterns. It's simple, it's functional, and it's completely unique. There isn't another one like it in the world, because it wasn't born from a plan, but from a process of discovery. It's a testament to what you can make when you just let go and create. What surprised me most about this project was how the different woods ended up complementing each other so well. I didn't plan the combination of oak, walnut, and maple, but they came together beautifully. This project taught me, once again, to trust the process. Starting without a plan can be scary, but it forces you to be resourceful and creative in a way that following instructions never can. The real joy wasn't just in the final piece, but in the small victories along the way. Solving the crooked cut, coming up with the dado idea, and seeing it all come together. I'd love to know, What did you think I was building? This whole freestyle process is a lot like life, isn't it? You can't always have a perfect plan. Sometimes things don't go the way you expect. You have to adapt, solve problems on the fly, and trust your skills and your gut. Embracing the unknown can lead to some of the most beautiful and rewarding outcomes. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a big pile of sawdust to clean up. As I sweep the floors, my mind is already wandering, thinking about the scraps that are left. What should we build next? Maybe something round this time? The possibilities are endless,